Hi, I'm Dan Lublin, one of the founding partners of Whitten Lublin Employment Lawyers, and I'm pleased to have with me today Simone Ostrowski, who's one of our senior lawyers working with us. And we'd like to spend a minute just talking to you about one of the issues that we're seeing happen very frequently at our firm, which is employees who were sent home as a result of the pandemic and have relocated. We're certainly hearing a lot of stories of individuals moving outside of the big cities, and it's a flight away from the big cities into the suburbs and other areas. And we're seeing workplace legal issues that arise. People are being terminated or disciplined, and employers are stating to some individuals, we may pay you less if you've moved out of town, or we may be disciplining you. So Simone, maybe just first as a question, generally speaking, what is the law on an employer's right to dictate where an individual lives?
That's a good question. Previously, I would say the law said that for more senior employees, certainly for executives or anyone in a fiduciary relationship, they had an obligation to disclose to the employer if they moved out of the general area of the company. For us in Toronto, that would be moving out of the GTA, for example. In the context of a lower level employee, I think you have to ask the question, was the person sent to work from home during the COVID pandemic, or are they doing so on a voluntary basis? In that case, I would say if someone's sent to work from home, it's harder for an employer to dictate where they can work from home. But then the issue arises, what happens if the employer wants to recall employees to the workplace and that person cannot relocate back to, say, the GTA very quickly?
Right, that's a good point. So for somebody who was sent home as a result of the pandemic and is working from home, personally, my view is that there's probably some flexibility in where they can log in and plug in. But I think it would be problematic for an individual to move to the Caribbean islands or to move across the country. We'll stay within Canada because of the travel ban right now, and then simply assume that that's okay with the work relationship. And so what happens if somebody has moved out of town, maybe just so that they're an hour and a half away, they've gone to the cottage, and then the employer says, you know what, we need to recall you back to the workplace now because lockdowns have ended and we're going to have you back at the workplace. Does an employer have to give an employee notice, and can they just recall you immediately and then expect you to move back into the city?
I feel as though some notice on the employer's part is required. I don't think it would be fair for an employer to say, after 10 months of working from home, beginning tomorrow, you're going to be reporting back to the workplace. But I don't think that the employee gets, say, several months of notice, because if they have moved out of the city or out of the province, I don't think it would be reasonable for the employer to have to give the employee ample time to get back and move back to the city. If someone, say, just moved to the cottage or moved slightly outside of the city, theoretically, they could still commute in. And what I'm seeing a lot is employers who are not necessarily recalling employees to work from the office 5 days per week, but perhaps 2 or 3 days per week. So even if that person has relocated slightly outside of commuting distance, it's not as onerous for them to start reporting in intermittently.
Interesting. So the bottom line is employees have rights, employers have rights, and sometimes there's a conflict between the two. And this is one of those areas where we're certainly going to see a lot more disciplinary and dismissal issues arise as companies across the country start recalling employees back to work, especially individuals who have moved away. It will be interesting to see how some of these issues play out in the court. So thank you very much, Simone. If anyone has any questions about a relocation issue as it relates to their job or workplace law, get in touch with us. 416-640-2667 or hit us up online, www.toronto-employmentlawyer.com, and any of our lawyers would certainly be very interested and able to assist with your problem. Thanks so much, Simone, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.